All right, today we are making pescetti and meatballs, baby. For our sauce, we're gonna need celery, carrots, onions. Half as much carrots as onions, half as much celery as onions. Carrots and celery together should equal how much onion you have. Garlic, probably 4 to 5 cloves, maybe less, maybe more. It's really up to you. You see this? That doesn't mean your garlic's bad. It means you definitely waited a little long, but we can still use this. Eggs, meat. We want ground beef, but to make these a little better, I'm getting a mix of ground chuck and ground pork. We're probably going to do about 50-50 mix between these two. We're not going to use all of this. This is 2.5 pounds of meat. We're not going to use this much. We're probably just going to use half of each one. These 3 cans right here, starting from smallest to biggest. This is how you make your sauce. First, 6-ounce tomato paste, the small tomato paste. If you get the bigger, if you want to make more sauce, you can get a bigger tomato paste, like the 12-ounce or 50, whatever it is. But then you'll need to double these two as well. Next, 1 thing of tomato sauce. The next size up, which is 15 ounces in this case. Lastly, 1 more size up, 1 more big can of crushed tomatoes. You can use pureed, you can use diced, you can even use whole tomatoes if you want. I don't care. Neither will you. They're gonna cook, they're gonna break down. Some panko breadcrumbs, any kind of breadcrumbs will work. These are just the Cadillac. The Rolls Royce of breadcrumbs is panko. Last but not least, we have some optional ingredients, which is beef broth and red wine, preferably a Cabernet. But also, these are optional. You don't need them. Let's get this party started. We're gonna go straight into it. We're not even gonna do any cuts. No funny business. Gonna get our carrot. I'm estimating that much onion is gonna need this much carrot. 2 carrots. I could be wrong. It could need less, it could need more. We will find out together, you and me together. Let's get some celery. Since we're gonna wash these, this is your celery stalk right here. You can just 1, 2, 2's probably fine. Wash these, get them nice and clean. You don't want any dirt on there. We are gonna peel these, but it's a good thing to wash them before you peel them because the peeler cuts into the carrot so you can actually bring dirt from the outside to the inside. So get these nice and washed. Good old rinse on these guys. Now that that's done, get your trusty vegetable peeler that I don't know where I've put. So give me a second. Apologies. Uh-oh. Can't find my vegetable peeler. Whatever will I do? What you will do is grab yourself a small little knife. Just a small, cute little guy. Guess this one will do the trick. And you can actually peel just with your knife. Obviously, this is not the best way to do things, but it is a method that works. Be very careful when doing this. What you want to do, you can see closely, is put your knife at a very, very tight angle, and you just go down. You see it's not picking up everything. That's okay. You might have to go down a couple more times before it catches a little ledge. But when you don't have can't find your vegetable peeler, you don't really have another choice. Do want to make sure we're not cutting too much off here. See, that's a little too much, so we'll just readjust there. There we go. This is probably the most inefficient way to do this. But that's quite all right. Got 1 more little piece. Oof, that's a little too big right there. That's okay. Got our first carrot peeled. Excuse the soccer in the background. You know, we got parlays going, so important stuff. Another good way to peel it, but it's also a good way to cut your thumb off. So we'll be careful. I mean, as you can see, we're kind of murdering our carrot over here. Once again, I don't have a vegetable peeler, so it's just making this 10 times harder than it needs to be. Don't worry, by the time you're making this video, Ava, if it is Ava watching this right now, if it's not, fuck you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't yell at me. Don't hate me. But yeah, we're murdering these carrots. They'll be fine. If you got some skin left on there too, totally okay. Cut that big piece off. Cut this big piece off. That's about all you need to do for the celery. I mean, celery does have some like fibery shit to it, you know. So if you really want, really want to get in there, you can kind of just get in there and then peel that right off. You know, you just see, I'll show you nice and close here. You just kind of cut the very bit, and you just hold on to it and pull it right away. So if you really want to go try hard mode, go for it. Peel your celery. This is not worth your time, though. You don't really need to do that. Don't really need to do that. It's kind of like if Outback Steakhouse were making this sauce, they definitely wouldn't do this. If Capital Grille were making this sauce, they'd be doing this. Probably the exact same way, too. They probably wouldn't use a peeler. They'd use a paring knife, which is a much better knife than we have here. This is just a regular old kitchen knife. My paring knife is in the, you might not be, it's in the sink over here. It's dirty. So, just get that last little bit. Good enough. All right. Grab ourselves a cutting board, and we're gonna flip right over to the other side. So what we're doing now is our prep, right? Because we're making spaghetti and meatballs. That means the spaghetti sauce and the meatballs both need to get made. Obviously, if you're not done, you could figure that out. To do so, however, we have to multitask efficiently. And to allow us to multitask efficiently, we need to properly plan. It's a French word called mise en place, which means to put in place, funny enough. And we were just gonna do exactly that. We're gonna put in place our prep so that whenever we need an ingredient, whether it's cut, chopped, minced, already sauced up, it's ready to grab and just go for it. Okay, so we're gonna cut. As you see, I already kind of trimmed up this celery. Bunch it up together, right? Let me switch you over so you can see these knife skills over here. Okay, so, right, I've cut it. These were like this. I cut them in half. Bunch them up. Bear claw grip, right, like this. So then the blade of the knife is always just against you. I can't cut my finger if it's against like this, right? No matter what I do, unless I angle it towards me. But if I keep my knife flat, nothing I can do, right? And then we're gonna cut in a slicing motion, so. And that's how you see chefs cutting fast, by the way, is by using that bear claw grip that slowly scoots itself back with the knife, allowing them for a nice, clean, and I mean, definitely not going as fast as I've ever gone before, but still relatively fast. All right, grab your celery, throw in your bowl for your mise en place later. Put you there. Same thing with your carrots. You're gonna cut off your carrot tips. Boom. As you can hear, Arsenal have just scored a goal. They're back up on Chelsea. Parlay is looking fantastic. If all things go well, by the end of this video, I would have made $80. So that's fantastic. We will see what happens. Oops, forgot my bear claw. Almost cut my finger off. Out of all the things you can cut, carrots are probably one of my least favorite, especially when you have to chop them up so small like we're doing here. You don't have to cut them up like tiny or anything, but it's got to be pretty small. You know, we're basically making a bolognese sauce, right? When you have a bolognese sauce, you usually don't notice big ass pieces of carrot and celery in there, but they are always in there. They're always in there. You're never gonna have a bolognese sauce that doesn't have carrots and celery in there, okay? But this chopped up is important. They melt in there and they are tasty, tasty, tasty. Get that going in there. I know you're probably looking at this saying like, that's not how you pick it up. That's because I know I yell at you picking it up wrong. But that's okay. You're at work and I'm at home watching soccer and low-key day drinking a little bit. Whoop, whoop. All right, cut your onion in half, straight through the root. Right, cut that root off. Get your little bag that your onion came from, right? Might as well place it above your thing. And peel your onion. Just take that whole first layer off. You lose what? You lose one layer of onion? Big whoop. But look how easy it is to just fucking... Boom. That's one half peeled. Second half, same thing. Whole first layer is gone. Nice and easy. Cut this excess. Gonna go down, and we're not gonna go all the way to the back. As you can see, we're going almost to the back, but not quite all the way to the back of the onion, ensuring that it stays together, right? Pick it up by the root here, if I can. We don't, not a lot of hair, but you see, it's all one piece, all staying together. We're gonna go across. Same thing, not all the way, and now we're just gonna cut. Left to right. Same thing, bear claw. And I mean, look at that dice. Look how fast and easy that was. Once you get here, right, this shit's wobbly. Like if I try to cut down here, boom, fingers are gone. So make your life easy. Flip it over by itself. Now you got so much more traction and more surface area on the cutting board, so it won't slip as much. Once you get to this last little part, just go chop, chop, get rid of that shit. You can always cut this. This is the point where it becomes hard for me to talk because I am fighting back tears, or more like fighting the burning sensation inside of my eyeballs. And as you can see, we have some pieces that aren't the best. Not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. Same thing. Boom, and now, oof, now we go silent. Okay. Oopsies. Try to space these out as evenly as possible, but obviously I just did a really shitty job of doing that, and you'll see our food is going to come out tasting just the same. Consistency really helps when cooking, so then you get, you know, even pieces, everything cooks evenly, both in bite, flavor, everything's nice and even, consistent, but obviously that's not always possible to be super consistent with your cuts, you know? I'm not a professional chef, you're not a professional chef, Unless you are a professional chef, then why the fuck are you watching this video right now? But there you go. That is our, this is called mire en pois, by the way. Mirepoix, by the way. It's just your onions, carrots, celery. It's used as a base for probably hundreds of different sauces, but mostly those tomato-based ones or stocks, you know, that kind of stuff. Gonna peel our garlic over here. We got 2 pieces. 3 pieces. Peeling garlic, man. You hate it. I hate it. We all kind of low-key hate it. Makes your fingers stinky. It's long, it sucks. I'm gonna use this piece just to show that it's still perfectly fine to use. Sometimes it's kind of hard to peel them, so you just kind of gotta chop halfway through, right? And then you can use this to peel. I'm just gonna keep going. Probably do 1 more, so it'll be about 5. These are pretty small garlic cloves. So maybe we'll even do 6. These guys are tiny. All right, that's our garlic. We got about 6 cloves right there. We're gonna grab a little container for it. We'll cut off these little tiny ends that don't look so good. Maybe we'll be a little more precise than I just was, so we're not wasting a whole bunch of garlic. This is not a necessary part of the process. All right. That's what we're gonna do with our garlic to chop it up flat on the cutting board. Put your weight on it. Really smush that shit, right? Might do it again. Yeah, look at that. Boom. Do it again. Again. Squish that shit. Squished. Get your squished garlic. Kind of put it in a pile. Couple chops across this way. Bring it back together. Couple chops across the other way. Right? Once you've done that, point down. And then we're going to go. I mean, you can see it's kind of making a mess, but we're just going to slide, slide, slide. This is probably the easiest way. Ooh, even the garlic is making me tear up. Where's probably the pile of onions that's still right in front of my face. And that will be good enough for our garlic. Push it straight onto there. Whoop. All right. There we go. And just stuff that right in there. And that is that done. Next, we're gonna get our meatballs started. So let's move this stuff over. We're not even gonna do any cuts here today. Well, we might have to do 1 or 2, but we will see. Do it at the same time as you, so you don't think I'm cheating. Get our ground pork. And we're gonna put loosely, you know, it doesn't matter, right about half of our package in there. It's not that deep how much you use. It's like, you know, how many meatballs do you want? There we go. I guess we used a little more chuck than we did pork. Now, it's very important that you wash your hands after touching any sort of raw meat every single time. So, on a day like this, we're going to be washing our hands quite a lot. Wash those hands. We are going to season this meat. So, garlic salt first, okay? Garlic salt, garlic salt. Paprika. Red pepper flakes. Black pepper. Might as well do some regular salt. And might as well do some garlic powder. Some provincial herbs, or if you have it, just Italian seasoning, you know, like the Italian herb mix. So just a couple nice little pinches of that. And might as well add just a little bit of our garlic in there, you know. Why the heck not? I'm also gonna add a little more pork, just because, you know, feeling a little hungry. Maybe I want a meatball before I serve the rest of them for dinner. Put that to the side. All this is gonna get washed, don't worry. Wash your hands again if you just touched raw meat. And now is the time where I realized that I did not look up how many eggs were needed for this recipe. So I'm going to take a quick pause, look that up, and come right back. All right, I have returned, and I have answers. So for our eggs, move this shit over. Our eggs right here, we are going to need 2 of them. Well, actually no, more like 1.5, because it's 1 per pound of meat. So this is what we're gonna do. We crack the egg. How do you get half an egg, you say? Get some egg white in there and then use the shell or tip of your knife to break the egg yolk in there, right? Just gonna pour a little bit. So you got a little bit left? Same thing with eggs. Wash your freaking hands. Then we got our panko breadcrumbs that I also had to look up how much we needed. And they said about a cup for 2 pounds. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this cup up most of the way, but not all of the way. Because this is most of 2 pounds, but not all of 2 pounds. That's about good. Dump that in there. And now for the fun part. Get your hands nice and ready. And you just gotta go in there. And we gotta mix, mix, mix. These eggs and breadcrumbs are gonna help us get a nice meatball that stays juicy and together, doesn't break apart on us. You don't want a meatball that's breaking apart on you. All right. Just make sure this is all nice and mixed together. Just really, you see that? Doesn't look the most appetizing, but it is going to be the most appetizing. Don't you worry. All right. So, if you were smarter than me, you would have had a plate out already, ready to roll your meatballs onto the plate. You're not that smart, or I'm not that smart. So we got to wash our hands again before we do so. Get another wash. got another wash, got ourselves a plate, and we are ready to go for another round of getting our hands dirty. We're gonna grab a nice healthy portion, you know, and give it a nice roll within our hands. The size of the meatball doesn't matter as much. Really just depends on what you want to do. Get that, and that's our little meatball right there. Just roll these within your hands. My hands are a little moist. I didn't really dry my hands very well from washing them. Making this slightly bit harder, but you know, just roll it like a ball of Play-Doh within your hands. Try to make them as even as possible so that you don't have fully cooked meatballs and then some raw meatballs. You know, give that a good old roll. I mean, these are not the prettiest meatballs I've ever made. The first one looks pretty good, but it looks like we're going downhill from there so far. Give these all an extra little re-roll before it's the end. Some nice, healthy-looking meatballs here. Might need another plate here. We will see. I mean, we can low-key kind of stack these guys. It's not a big deal. They can touch a little bit. As you can see, we got big boys over here, not so big boys over here. So we're going to sacrifice that one to make these guys bigger. Like we said, we want these guys to be even. Even Steven. So we'll get that going again. Make them a little bigger here. Boop. Almost done over here. Looks like we're gonna end up with about not a dozen. Maybe we'll have a dozen. This one's a little big. Right around 10 or 11 of them. We already got 8. We are almost done here. Sorry for a bunch of silence, you know, but hopefully you're doing this at the same time as I am enjoying the relaxation of rolling your own little meatballs. And we got the last of it here. I think this one's going to be perfect. Perfect amount. There we have it. Meatballs. Got them in a wash. this real quick. Oh, actually, no. I'm just going to put it to the side, wash my hands, and we'll get going with the next step. So, we're going to take our meatballs. Ooh. Get over here, you gotta unplug the charger. Meatballs, mise en place here. Margarita. Cracked open. Going down the hatch, baby. Okay, let's get our crock pot out. Not crock pot, Dutch oven. Ooh, big heavy. I'm gonna start our Dutch oven on about 4. Actually, no, we're going straight down, right out of 5. 50-50 heat. Get the lid. Not gonna need this lid quite yet. All right. Get some olive oil. Bottom of your pot. While your pot heats up, now's a good time to get that shit cleaned up. So let's do it. These get put away. This goes back in the fridge, and the trash goes in the trash. Panko seasonings and that go in your pantry. Clean up, everybody clean up. It's everybody's favorite song. The song I wish I could play at the end of my shift so that the customers would get the hint and get the fuck out of the restaurant. But they never get it, do they? They never understand. They never ever understand. All right, these need to be taken care of, so we're gonna get 2 Ziploc bags. Okay, are you seeing this bullshit? No open? What is going on here? Figured it out. Ground pork, zippy zip. Ground chuck, zippy zip. In the fridge. All this shit straight into the sink. We'll deal with it at a later point in time, baby. Later point in time. He's going over here. Put your fruits and veggies in the fridge where they belong. All right. Now, this stuff had raw meat on it, remember? So we're taking it out and we're going to wash it. The next step is going to be to sanitize our workstation. So these are some sanitizer wipes. Whoops. Oh, good. They're still sanitizing. Don't worry. Give these guys a good wipe everywhere. Clean our station. Okay. One last step before we start cooking our meatballs. Grab your can opener. Let's get this opened and ready to be used so that as soon as we're ready, we can pour them straight in. We don't have to wait and panic when it's cooking time. This is all part of our mise en place still. All part of it. Sorry, got a shitty can opener over here. Boop. So we're trying to grab a plate over here, but it's not going well. There we go. For tomato paste, fun thing I like to do, oops, because tomato paste is really hard to get out of its container without wasting half of it, or without having to dig your finger or a spatula or something crazy in there. I mean, look at this, right? It's not going anywhere. So put this back on, right? Flip it and do the exact same thing to the other side. Cut it all the way. Boop. Put it down. When it's time, all we're gonna do is press down on this and it'll push everything out the other side. For now, we'll leave it on the plate so there's no leaky leaks. And we're gonna move that over to the other side, the dark side. Not really, just the side where all of our shit is. Look at this. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but that's all right. So, it is meatball cooking time. In order to cook our meatballs good, you're not gonna want to throw all of these meatballs in there at once, right? This is way too many meatballs to put in there. What's gonna happen is, if you do that, it's gonna cool your pan down way too much, and then you're not gonna get a good sear on your meatballs. If you don't get a good sear on your meatballs, you're not gonna get a lot of good flavor on your meatballs. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put these down right here. This hand is going to stay my dirty hand. I'm going to be touching raw meat with it. Nothing else is going to touch it. Tongs in the right hand, other hand, are going to be picking up these and putting them over here. So, go grab a couple. You know, try to right in here. Put 3 or 4 of them, 5 or 6 of them. You know, doesn't need to be 2 of them, but about half. There you go. Just like that. Got them cooking up in here. Make sure the oil's everywhere. Now this spot's honestly low-key a slightly bit too cold, but we'll be okay. What we're doing here is just doing a slight sear. We're just searing the outside. We don't want to cook the inside. The sauce is going to cook the inside of our tomatoes, of our meatballs. So we'll give these a minute or 2 here to sear. And we'll obviously, you know, we'll flip them. We're going to sear all sides of our meatballs. Or, I mean, these are kind of flat-sided because they've been sitting. You can see a little flat-sided, but that's, who cares? It'll be quite all right. All right, time to flip some meatballs. So, if you go like this, nice and soft, loosen them up. Just loosen them up. There we go. Loosen them up, loosen them up. This one's a little more stuck. And just give it a little roll. Oh, you can see by that first one right there, that's not a great sear. That is not a great sear, but that is okay. We'll leave the other ones for another minute or 2 before we flip them. Because now we know. We flipped our first one. It didn't look bad. It's just not exactly what we want it to look like. We want it a little bit darker, a little more color on there. Just gonna let that cook. That is the unfortunate portion of this, is you just gotta wait. I'm assuming now these are ready to go. So give them the same little treatment. Oh yeah, I can already tell this one's good. It's not the easiest to flip these over. Oh, look at that. See the difference? Get you nice and close. See that from the top? You can clearly tell this one's much darker. That's what you want them to look like. That's a good sear on your meatball right there. See that? So all of them, oh, look at that. That is beautiful. It's a beautiful sear. There's going to be lots of flavor in there. Where the flavor comes from. Kind of looks like we need a little bit more oil in here, honestly. These guys are getting a good sear. Oops, you see that? You saw it? I saw it too. That's raw beef hand touching something that's not supposed to be raw beef hand. What do? Sanitize, so we don't get everybody sick. Sanitize. Now we got 2 clean hands. We did get that done. Give this guy a flip back to the other side. Look at that. That is beautiful. You see, unfortunately, this isn't flat. All the oil is going to the same size. So we are just going to make a little bit of room so all these can get cooked in the oil. Give it a little flip. And these meatballs are already just about to be done cooking. I mean, they're still raw, right? One. Give this guy a flip. Do a little roll. Come on. There we go. There we go. Get this guy in there. All right. That is 6 out of our 12 meatballs. I guess we did get a perfect dozen. Seared. We're just going to give this another second to heat back up to make sure we get a really good sear on this next batch. Because our first batch was not necessarily the best batch. And you know, that's okay. There's also a little too much oil in here, and that's my bad. But you'll see that it is going to end up working out just okay. So let's add our meatballs in. You know, I'm not cutting stuff out because I make mistakes in the kitchen just like everybody else. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't. Speaking of mistakes, I can't count. There's 7 in here, so that means we got 13 meatballs total. And we're just like the last time, we're going to let these bad boys simmer, or sear. We could get rid of this raw beef plate. Woo. All right. Let's see if it's time or if we came too early. Looking pretty good to me. Oh yeah, look at that sear on there. That is beautiful. Just what we like. You're gonna let the rest of it sear, give it a swirl. We are gonna have to try to remove some of this oil. That's all right. We're gonna figure it out, you and me together, what the best option for that is. Actually, honestly, might be okay. It's a little much, but I think it'll be all right. If there's a disclaimer that pops up right now in the video, that means you should have taken the oil out. If not, it worked out fine. I'm already ready to get these out. So at this point, though, we're going to turn our heat down right below the 4. And we're going to take these meatballs nice and gently. Nice and gently. Super soft, super soft. All right. Keep your meatballs over there, that's fine. You're gonna wanna get yourself a little spatula. This guy will do the trick today. Doesn't need to rest in here, I just needed somewhere to put it. Dump it. Dump that hoe. Don't drop that dirty dirt. Hey, don't drop that dirty dirt. You know what I'm saying? Stir this bitch. You don't want this to get crispy. You don't want this to get browned. We are sweating our onions here. So since we're using a slightly higher heat, because we were just on a 5 or 5.5, you're going to keep mixing and mixing and mixing. This is when your house is going to start to smell so fucking good. This right here should be a candle in and of itself. And we're going to keep stirring and mixing. You know, you can leave it for a couple seconds while you go wash your hands or do whatever, but this part you don't want to be just like leaving. Let it cook, right? See, like I'm leaving, I'm doing a thing or two, blah, 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 it's cooking, so come back, mix it up. We want our onions to get translucent. Once your onions are translucent, that's when you know you're getting ready to add your garlic. Or not getting ready, you're ready to add your garlic. You can already see your onion, especially these small pieces over here, are already losing their color. That's because their juices are coming out right into here. By the way, I can already tell that this does not have too much oil. I mean, it might be a little, you know, a little more than the perfect amount, but it's not going to be excessive and make your dish gross. So that is a good thing. Seems like the temperature of our pan has kind of cooled off a little bit, so we can afford to let these sit for a second, but really not that long, just a little bit of time. Got a little piece of onion there. And keep mixing and mixing and mixing. Our onions are starting to get pretty translucent at this point. Starting to look real good. Real freaking good. And I mean, these smells are incredible. Our carrots are starting to get pretty soft. You can see the onions, especially like these like flat little pieces, are basically see-through. Like you could see, that is see-through. That's a piece of onion. And that is good. Just for reference, that's what a raw one looks like. Cooked raw. So you see that really, that drastic color difference. It's almost like a slight yellowish hue to it, but not quite. All right, now is when we're gonna add our garlic straight to the middle. Make sure it's all really in there. And honestly, kind of light on the garlic. We could have done much more garlic than this. But just gonna leave it, let it get nice and fragrant. Let it saute. You know, mix it in there. I know I said leave it and then I mixed it in right away, but you know me. I'd just be saying shit. You could have left it though for like a minute and it would have been okay. And honestly, we didn't really get, we'll see actually. Give me a second before I say that. I'm thinking we might not need the red wine on this one, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. The next step, not everybody does it this way. I like to do it this way. I like to add my tomato paste first out of any of the other tomato things. So I just removed that bottom piece, and now I'm just gonna push straight down, literally straight down. Look at that. Look how much is coming out. Boop. You just pick that up, and now you have yourself a nice, beautiful log. And then look, I mean, there's some in there, but it's barely anything. Stir this up, get it mixed in with your veggies, and cook for an additional, I don't know, like a minute, 2 minutes. Just get that really stirred up, kind of break up that tomato paste. You know, you don't want it all together, kind of, yeah, break it up, break it up. It's perfect. We're gonna cook this till it starts to brown a little bit. It's gonna develop a deep, bold flavor. And we're just throwing words at you that are just like flavor words, but you know, that is half of what cooking is just inventing flavor names. Everybody does it. I almost feel like the heat is not quite high enough on this, but we're gonna rock with it. Just leave that for a bit. Just cooking and cooking and cooking. And cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking. Oh yeah. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna need the red wine today. Maybe just a little splash we'll use, but yeah, we'll do a little splash. But just a little splashy splash. Just like that. just like that. We'll do about the same for our beef broth. That's it. Get this nice and mixed up and incorporated together. Usually the wine is real good when you have like a fond developed on the bottom. But I don't know what's going on today. I think I'm using slightly too low of a heat. There's not really a fond on the bottom. I think it's also the amount of oil we used earlier. It's a little too much to develop that fond. But that's okay. So now that this is nice and incorporated, we just add our tomato sauce. Nice and in there. Add our crushed tomato. Oh yeah. Nice and in there. Get a little bit of water, just a splash. Just a splash of water, not a lot. And just twirl it around in there. Get the last of your tomato. All right. That is just about it. We're going to give this a good old stir. Bring our heat back up to a 5. And we're gonna just bring that to a slight boil, or like a simmer. Oh, first, put your meatballs back in. Yeah, slide those bad boys in there. Do a nice little stirry stir so they're nice and covered by your meat, by your sauce. Get your lid. Most of the way. This is going to help from when that sauce starts to pop, pop, pop. And we're going to leave that there for about 5 minutes while it comes to a boil. Actually, I'm going to bring it up all the way up to a 6. Keep the lid all the way on for like 2 minutes. That'll bring that up to a nice boil. Then we could open it back up, turn the heat down, and let it simmer for about 30. And after that, our sauce will be fully done. So I'll see you in about 2 minutes. Alrighty, tidy. It's in just about 2 minutes. Let's pop that. Oh, look at that. Boiling just like we wanted it. Bring it down to below a 4 once again. Give this a good old stir. This is also the time when you kind of stop scraping the bottom of your sauce when you're stirring stuff, because if stuff starts to burn, it'll burn the bottom of the sauce, right? You got burn bits get stuck to the bottom, and if you start scraping those, then they're going to incorporate into your sauce, and then your sauce is going to be burned. All right. At this stage, that tastes lovely. Tastes lovely already. Put this just like that. You know, we just want it, make sure it doesn't slip. Just want it to make sure that it doesn't splash everywhere. And since it's gonna cook like this for about 30 minutes, I'll cut it now and we'll check back in about 10 to 15. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. We are looking good. Let me give it a little stir. Get this going. Just a little stir. Burp. It's gonna need about another 15, 20 minutes. You know, we just want these flavors to really incorporate in there and the water content to kind of go out a little bit. Same thing, we're just putting it up like this so that it stays safe. We could already see it's, even with the crack, it's going places, but this is the best case scenario, right? We'll wait another 10, 15 and we'll be back. All right, I've gone ahead and done the number one thing you don't want to do while cooking: get distracted. I messed up. It's been about 22 minutes since the last time you saw me, so a lot more than what we previously talked about. Our sauce has burnt. The sauce tastes fine. The bottom is burnt. I already know. It's been too long since I've stirred it or anything. So let me show you how to save your sauce in case something like this happens. So, do not stir the bottom. Don't even stir it that much. We're gonna grab it and we're gonna pour it straight into a new pot. Straight into a new pot. All right, we're not gonna scrape nothing. Look at the bottom of that. See, so if I had gone and stirred the sauce up, stirred the sauce, I'm stirring my sauce. Look at all that burnt shit that is now incorporated into the bottom of this sauce, right? Look at that. It's kind of hard to tell with the, see the color difference? This is not gonna, I mean, I'll taste it just in case. Maybe I'm wrong, and it's gonna taste like the best sauce we've ever had. Let's see. Let's give that a taste. Real hot. Tastes burnt. Tastes gross. Move that aside. We don't want none of that. This is our sauce, what we rescued from our sauce. It's a little liquidy, which is all right. Let's give it a taste. You saw how burnt that bottom was, right? But I didn't scrape it. When I noticed my mistake, first thing I did was I tilted it like this. I did this off camera. I tilted it, and I saw the edge right here had some, it's scraped up now, but it had some brownish. And I was like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. So this one we can stir, right? Because it's in a new pot. Let's give it a taste. Make sure we didn't fuck this up completely. It happens. Sometimes you burn shit. Sometimes you mess up. We might have to start over. We'll see. Very, very hot. Not burnt, however. Does need a little bit of salt. We're gonna add some garlic salt. We're gonna add some pepper. Oh, that's more salt. Pepper. I like a lot of pepper, but you can add as much pepper as you want. And we're gonna add more pepper, I guess, because this is crushed red pepper for a little bit of spicy. And a little bit of garlic powder, because garlic is amazing. And remember at the beginning when I was like, you should have added more garlic, or I should have added more garlic? Well, now we're adding. Give this a stir. Be careful when using a metal spoon to stir in a non-stick pot. You don't want to be scraping up little bits of that non-stick and getting yourself sick as a dog. But there we go. This is our sauce. This is done. It's delicious. This part right here, not so delicious, huh? Look at that. But that just shows you the importance of not scraping the bottom of your pot. Because look at that. Yuck. Compared to that beautiful sauce. So always be careful. Don't scrape the bottom of your pot. And if you make a mistake, don't panic. There's usually a way to fix it. Just be careful. Take your time. You know, if you don't know what to do, because obviously I knew what to do right here, but if you didn't know what to do, what's your best bet? Take the pot off the heat, leave your sauce, don't stir anything, and Google it. Google's your best friend, you know? Same thing if you got your salt shaker here with pepper, but you got shake, all of it falls out. Take a moment, take a breath, and find your best solution. It's not necessarily the end of the world, and it's not necessarily a need to start over. The total cook time for this sauce was probably almost an hour. Too long. You can cook it for that long. You can cook a pasta sauce for an hour. However, you need to do it at a much lower heat with much more stirring to avoid things like this stuff getting burnt like what happened. I just got stuck on a phone call, didn't see the time, so it got messed up. We did end up wasting, look at that. It's a decent bit of sauce that we're wasting, you know, it's half of a helping almost. But it's for the best. Now we got our beautiful sauce and we're ready to eat. We're gonna put this away in the fridge and heat it up for later. Obviously this is spaghetti and meatballs. We didn't make the spaghetti. That's just because I'm not ready to eat it yet. Sure, you know how to make spaghetti. The day is saved. We are all good.